What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't already checked out Scores and Odds, just making bad life choices. Just go on over to Scores and Odds. Sign up. You get access to all sorts of things, including this nice little futures spreadsheet right here that has all the best odds for every single team for the NBA championship across all sites. So you know that the best place to bet it over for the Suns, PointsBet, best place to bet for Golden State, MGM, so on and so forth. So go get signed up. Plus, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge, where I'm throwing in all my bets every single day into this little Discord channel right here. It's going premium next week, so you still got a few days to get in there. But Monday, it will be premium, so go ahead, get in there. But this is basically a show where I'm giving you out exactly what I'm betting every single day. Got a few in here already, and I'm joined by couple of guys who are going to talk the NBA slate. We're going to talk some NBA futures today. First, let's start off with Keith Eister, Eyes, as whatever it is, 819. How you doing there, Keith?
Doing good, man. Happy to be on with you. Ready to break down these playoff series we've got coming at us. This should be a really, really fun NBA playoff. So definitely excited to get into some of these matchups.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this playoffs more. I have way more money out in this NBA playoffs than I have in any other playoffs before it. And then we're joined by also a guy who's won a mill a few times. Good at DFS, good at sports, good at things, good at life. Head chopper, David Kaplan. How you doing there, buddy?
Doing good, Grant. Glad I could finally get the opportunity to jump on this show with you.
Yeah, no, it's been far too long since we've had a show together. It's been, I can't even remember how long. I think football season, maybe. Who knows? But yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe before then. It's been a while.
Yeah, feels good. Feels good. But yeah, there's not really a ton of baseball today, so we're just going to break right into basketball. Charlotte going up against Atlanta is the first game. I got a few bets in this one. Let's see. I got Plumlee under 2.5 assists, getting it plus 115 over at Caesars. We have him projected for, I think, 2.2. So offering some pretty solid value. I have it over a 50% chance of hitting, meaning this is going to rattle off roughly a 10% ROI. Let's see, Plumlee. Yeah, we have him projected at 2.28, so getting it plus odds, pretty big. Trae Young over 31.5 points. He's been absolutely just lighting up the world recently. Probably going to play close to 40 minutes. They have to win it. Obviously, win or go home in this round of the play-in games here. Then they'll play again, obviously, against whoever. See if they get to the next round. But those are the two bets I have for the Atlanta-Charlotte game. Keith, you got any?
I do have a couple, yeah. I love your Trae Young over there. He's been awesome without John Collins. I was on that same line of thinking, but Charlotte is one of my favorite teams to target for three-pointers. Trae shoots a lot of three-pointers. They were 29th in the league this year in three-pointers allowed, gave up the 8th worst percentage, 36% they allowed from 3 points. So Trae Young over 3.5, I got it minus 125. And then on FanDuel, I like the alternate lines as well. Decent plus money. I got that. And same line of thinking. Bogdanović has been shooting a ton of threes here recently. His over 3.5 came in at plus money. I got that at plus 130.
Nice. So at plus 125 over at MGM right now. Yeah. I mean, Charlotte, just such a fast-paced, bad defensive team. I don't mind either of those lines, but yeah, getting Bogdanović at plus 125 is a fantastic line. It sounds like you got plus 130, so nicely done. Chop, you got anything for me here? Or?
Well, I'll tell you, if I'm in the player props, which I know you're the player prop guy, but if you can find one on LaMelo Ball triple-double, I think that has some legs to it right there. And also, the old ladder bet. I like the ladder. Do we call it a ladder bet?
Yep, it's a ladder bet where you're just.
Yeah. Let's ladder this over because, like he said, if Charlotte gets hot from the 3-point range, this game will blow past the 235.5, and it'll get way, way up there. Especially, you saw last night in both those games, really, especially in the Cleveland game. At the end of the game, like nobody wants to lose these play-in games, even if you do have an ace in your back pocket, which you can play next game, like last night. This is like an elimination game. nobody wants to lose. So at the end of the game, you could get the fouling like they do in college basketball, like the constant fouling, and you add up some easy baskets and grab another 10 points in the last minute of a game or so. I like the ladder on the over on this game.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, the line's sitting currently at 235, so you can get 240 at 240.5 at plus 150. You can get 250 at plus 370. Honestly, this defense is not going to be played as much in this game. I mean, these are not two good defensive teams, so I don't mind that. And yeah, the triple-double actually just rose to plus 900 for LaMelo, so should end up playing a boatload of minutes in this one. We have him currently projected for 36 minutes. Game they need to win. So, yeah, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, I don't mind that triple-double line at all. Let's move on to the next game. We got San Antonio going up against the Pelicans here. Pretty high total. Pelicans are 5-point favorite, 4-point favorite, whatever it is. 5.5-point favorite. I got a few lines here. We got Valanciunas under 33.5 points, rebounds, assists. Got it plus 135 at DK. Like it's pretty much a 50-50 shot. I thought the line was exactly where it should be, but with a massive amount of juice you can get on the over on DK, it's just a great line. I got Jakob Poeltl over 8.5 rebounds, sitting at minus 130 over at Caesars. And then Herb Jones under 0.5 threes, sitting at plus 165. He's been shooting pretty well recently. He's hit this in like 3 of the last 4, but he's only shooting 1 to 3 3-pointers a game. Ingram being back, I don't think that Herb Jones is going to be shooting nearly as much. I like the under on that. Keith, you got any bets for me in this game?
Yeah, you just touched on Ingram being back, and that's a spot I'm looking to target. I love your angle of targeting that with the Valanciunas under. Valanciunas production went way down when McCollum and Ingram were both in the lineup, so I think you're onto something great there. I think Ingram comes back and plays pretty well here. We haven't seen all 3 of them together very much. But if you look over at our projections on scores and odds, you can see Ingram's points, rebounds, assists. We have him quite a bit higher than his lines are coming in. So I agree with that. I think Ingram comes in here and plays really well. I think that McCollum kind of takes a back seat to him, so and distributes the ball a little bit more. So another one that I really like is McCollum over 6 assists.
Nice. Let's see what we have him projected over at scores and odds there. McCollum. We have him at 6 assists, and yeah, you can actually get him at minus 140 over 4.5 over at PointsBet, but decent.
Yes, yeah, I wrote it down. You're correct. The projections, we haven't projected for 6 assists. I got the line at 4.5. Correct.
Nice, nicely done. Chop, you got anything for this, or are you ready to move on to the series odds?
The only thing I'll throw in here is Jackson Hayes. I see some odds on some of his props tonight. I like the unders on those because I just get a feeling Popovich, pretty good coach, must-win game. I think he's going to go small and run the big guys off the court for New Orleans. So I kind of think Jackson Hayes maybe gets squeezed here for some minutes.
Yeah, don't mind that. We have under 15.5 points, rebounds, assists isn't bad. Hayes on points sitting at 9.5. Take the under on that. Pretty simple there. It's all the way up 10.5 over on FanDuel, so that's not bad either. Yeah, definitely don't mind those. But let's get into some series odds here. Obviously, we don't know who's going to be the 8th seed at the moment. So we'll just start off with the first one here. Golden State going up against the Nuggets. Minus 250 on the Warriors, plus 210 over on the Nuggets. Sitting around the same over on almost every single site. You can get, minus 240 on Golden State is the best one over at Caesars. Plus 210 is the best one over on the Nuggets. You see any value in either of those, Chop?
It's hard to say without definitive news on Curry. So I think in general, I definitely favor Golden State. I'm not super impressed with the Nuggets this year. They're kind of a one-man band. I think Golden State's good enough to give them the business. So I like Golden State, but I'd probably, if I got word that Curry was maybe hoping to make a comeback here in this series, I might throw some shekels on Golden State in 5, something like that.
Yeah, definitely don't mind. I mean, Golden State's been one of the best teams in the league with Curry in there, with everyone else healthy. Keith, you on the same page, or are you looking more towards the Nuggets?
Pretty much the same page. Not a ton of value on either side here. Definitely question marks. Like Denver, we've had questions on whether Murray was going to make it back, whether Porter was going to make it back. Not looking like they're going to have either of those guys. So I agree. Even without Curry, slight Golden State, Curry were in there, then definitely Golden State.
Yeah. Now let's move on to the next series here. We got the Mavs going up against the Jazz. Jazz are minus 300 favorites. Mavericks looking at plus 230, it looks like on most sites. Just checking out other spots here. 250 over on Caesars. And then see what plus 235. Yeah. So, I mean, I probably lean more towards the Jazz. I mean, have we gotten official news on Luka yet? I mean, says he could be out for a bit, right? Yeah. So I'll start off with you, Keith. I mean, I think I'm more on the Jazz side of things at minus 300. I mean, they're just the better team. I know they've struggled the second half of the season. Don't seem to look entirely right, but still they are a fairly dominant team. Mavs, if Luka's going to be hindered or not even play, then they've really got nothing going on. I mean, Dinwiddie and Brunson can run 1 and 2, and they can provide some offense, but really not a great team and not really a playoff team without Luka in the offense there.
Yeah, I agree. Luka just does so much for this Dallas team. Like the fact that he's questionable and has a chance of not even being 100%, there's no way I could put money down on Dallas right now. If he came back and looked like the superstar he is in game 1 or 2, maybe I could get behind it then, because I don't think the Jazz are going to make a deep run here, but they're the far superior team to Dallas, especially if Luka is even limited at all.
Yeah. What about you, Chop? You have any interest in Mavs, or are you on Jazz too?
I think we got robbed here. I think we got robbed with the Luka deal, man.
Yeah, I'm so pissed about it.
I think watching Dallas this year, really impressed. Well, I would have taken Dallas in this series had Luka not suffered that injury. So we got robbed on that one. Maybe you don't like it. I can't lay 350 right now on somebody. Just especially the Jazz, who always seem to lose the playoff series that you think they should win. But if I'd be watching it closely, if like Dallas lost the first game and then the odds really skyrocketed, and then they said, "Oh well, here Luka's looking a lot better in practice," bam, and then I'd be on Dallas or something. Maybe then you'd open up some serious value. But as it currently stands, I'm pretty neutral on this one.
Yeah, the next series, Bucks versus Chicago. Bucks are saying at minus 1,000, minus 1,100. Either of you have any interest in a long shot on the Bulls plus 700? Yeah.
No.
I don't. Before Keith, I'll throw this. The only bet I'd make on this one is Milwaukee 4-0. Milwaukee in 4.
Yeah, I wonder series correct score. Let's check out what that is. Bucks 4-0 plus 255. I don't hate that bet.
I like that call, Chop. Yep. Dean was giving me crap for saying the Bulls could potentially compete in the playoffs, but this is a horrible draw for them. Just a terrible matchup. They have no one to stop Giannis. And my argument is if Lonzo Ball back, he did not. So they're without Lonzo. Bucks are the clearly better, and I just
We'll move on to the next one here. This is a more interesting series. Philly versus Toronto. Philly sitting at minus 180. Raptors sitting at plus 150 over at DraftKings. Similar odds over at Caesars, and then over at FanDuel. Just checking this out real quick. Where are you at, Philadelphia? A little bit better odds on Philly, minus 178. I mean, I don't see a huge amount of value. If I'm going anything, I'm probably going with the Raptors. I mean, I know Embiid should just absolutely destroy them, but Harden hasn't looked the same recently. Chop, you have any lean on this? Like, are you going with the underdog, or are you just taking Philly?
I'm leaning the underdog here. I'm leaning Toronto in this series. I think the difference maker in this series is Nick Nurse. Just a far better coach than Doc Rivers, and he'll find a way to put, maybe the only, do the thing where the only guy that's going to beat us is Embiid. Embiid can get his, nobody else is going to get theirs, kind of a thing. And Philly just doesn't. Absolutely. First of all, they don't play good defense with Harden since the Harden trade. They don't play good defense, and they have zero answers for Siakam. They have all year long. They've struggled with him. So I think Toronto, well coached, is going to pull off this upset here.
Yeah, I like that. Keith, you on the same side?
I would probably just pass on this one. I'm not as heavy on Toronto as you guys seem to be. I think Embiid is just too much, but I wouldn't want to place a bet on Philly either.
Yeah, that's fair. Now let's get to probably going to be the best series in the first round. Boston going up against the Nets. The Nets, I think, started off as a massive favorite. I think Boston was plus 115 to start off. It's moved all the way over to minus 130 for Boston over on DK. You can get all the way over at minus 145 over at over at Caesars. Minus 142 over at FanDuel. So you can get the Nets at plus 125 over at Caesars and Celtics minus 130. Keith, you have a lean on either side of this?
Really close series here. That Robert Williams injury for Boston obviously still lingering. Big deal to their defense and their rim protection. Man, yeah, I don't have a strong lean either way on this one. Brooklyn just obviously with a ton of talent with their superstars there. A little bit scared of that. I think Boston is definitely the better team overall, but I am worried about Kyrie or Durant just kind of taking over this series. I think you're on mute, Grant.
Sorry. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, my thing is they're probably going to play Durant and Kyrie 45 minutes both in this matchup here. Like having them on the floor is just a huge advantage. While I wouldn't take them at minus odds, at plus odds, I think this is pretty close to a coin flip. So getting Brooklyn at plus 125, I think that's the better bet there. Chop, what are your thoughts?
I tell you, I have to say, if Boston had got matched up with Toronto, I think I would have leaned Toronto. And they got matched up with the Nets, so I'm going to take the Nets here. And I tell you why. I'm not a believer in Boston. They caught a lot of public steam, man, for the last 2 months. They've dominated the NBA. But they've done it because they made a nice scheme adjustment on defense, right? Well, in the playoffs, typically the scheme won't beat out on the talent. I think Brooklyn still has the better talent. And I think that, and I'm not a big fan of Steve Nash. I think there could be better coaches out there. But if he just sits down, looks at the game field, makes the adjustments, Brooklyn has the better team, the more talented team. So I think Brooklyn's going to win this thing.
Yeah. No, getting them at plus odds, I think it's just solid overall value. Let's move on to the last series that we have, and then we'll just go to straight up futures. Memphis against Minnesota. Memphis sitting at minus 330. Minnesota sitting anywhere from plus 260 all the way up to plus 280 over on Caesars. I don't think Minnesota has a shot in this series. Like Memphis is such the better team. If I'm going anything, I'm going Memphis at plus 330. Chop, do you think Minnesota has any chance?
No, I think Memphis rolls them out, and that's good. I did, old Patrick Beverly rubbed me the wrong way last night. All that hot dogging, Grant. I can't have all that hot dogging, man. It's too much. It's too much. But yeah, Memphis is just good, man. They're so underrated. Eventually they'll run into Phoenix, and that's going to be a great matchup. But man, they're really, really good. So I think Memphis rolls them up.
Yeah, I got Memphis at, I think, 75 to 1 to win the championship back in December. I think they're like at 15 to 1. I don't know. We'll check after this. But Keith, you think Minnesota has any chance?
Their only chance would be if Anthony Edwards is just actually a superstar. Dude balled out last night. He might just take this team over and keep them in the series. But even if he does that and then he's putting up like 35, 40 a night, I still think Memphis comes out on top here.
Yeah, they just match up really well. Obviously, Bane can guard Russell. Brooks can be on Edwards and still give him some trouble. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., he may end up getting in foul trouble going up against Cat, but still got Steven Adams there, which I don't want him going on the outside, but he can get it done. Like, this is just a solid overall team here. So let's just look at these futures. And my favorite, even though it's not great odds, is actually Memphis plus 1,400. You can get 1,400 over on FanDuel and over on Caesars. But like Like, do either of you have interest in the Suns at plus 270, plus 275? I can't do that. Like, there's too many guys that can beat teams that can beat them over in the East and in the West. Like, they're going to face Warriors probably, and they're probably going to face the Grizzlies. Well, let's see. The Warriors are the 3 seed, right? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So I guess they only have to beat the Warriors or the Grizzlies. I mean, after that, they're probably not going to have much trouble with the Jazz or the Mavericks. So yeah, like, I mean, they do have an easier shot to the championship, but plus 270 is just too low of a number. Do either of you have any interest in that?
I think the odds are too short there. I would rather bet them to come out of the West, I think. But as far as a bet on them to be champion, I can't do it. I'd rather get double the odds on the Bucks. Just the odds aren't good enough there to take a shot on Phoenix.
Yeah, Chop.
I actually did bet them a while back. The odds were a lot better a couple months ago, but they've got the good path to get to the finals, depending on who they play in the finals. They've got a little experience in the finals now. They're loaded with some of the key things you want, the ball handlers, the experience, Chris Paul, Devin Booker in the back, the wings. They're just deep at the wing position. They match up with anybody. They're just really good. But I probably couldn't take those odds right there. But, yeah, their real competition is going to come in the finals, not in the Western Conference. So Western Conference odds would probably be your best bet, because they'll let Golden State and Memphis kind of wear each other out the series right before they play Phoenix. And that'll be good for them.
I mean, yeah, honestly, like they're saying it plus 115 to win the Western Conference. I think that's a little bit too low.
Better, yeah, that's a much better bet in my opinion.
Really, I mean, yeah, I guess you're pretty much just betting. Like they have a free shot. Like they're going to win the first round. Like Spurs, whoever, they'll beat the Jazz and Mavericks. So yeah, I guess you're pretty much betting on them to beat the Grizzlies or Warriors, which I don't think is bad at plus 115. Any interest in the Grizzlies to win the Western Conference at plus 600 or the Warriors at plus 500? I mean, I think both of those offer some solid odds. It's pretty much you're betting on them to beat the other team and then also beat the Suns, and that's pretty much it.
I mean, I like the team, but I'm not going to bet that. But I do like the team. I like it where it's at. And when this thing all ends, maybe it'll be a good time to drop your Memphis winning the title future for next year, because this is an up and coming team. I don't think they're going to get through this gauntlet here. But but when they do face Golden State in the second round, I think they'll roll Golden State, and I think they may end up being really close to even in that game. So in that series, so I do like them. Maybe just to cherry pick some series out here for them.
Yeah. This next series is going to be an absolute blast. Keith, you got any interest in either of those?
The odds are decent enough. I think I would want to see Curry come back and look healthy for sure to take any kind of a futures bet on the Warriors. And the Grizzlies, kind of the same thing with John Morant. He's missed some time here at the end of the season. So maybe if the Suns came out and get a sweep and their odds kind of stay where they're at, and I could get a plus 500, plus 600 on the Grizzlies after Morant looks healthy, or even on the Warriors if Curry comes back and looks really good. But I'd probably wait a little bit on both.
Yeah. All right. What about any of the teams in the East? I mean, you can get the Celtics at plus 1,200, the Heat plus 1,100, 76ers plus 1,600, Nets plus 750, Bucks plus 500. I mean, I think I like the Bucks the least amount. Bucks and the Nets probably the least amount of those two. I think the Celtics can make a run. I think the Heat can make a run. I think the 76ers can make a run. I mean, at some point, if Harden actually becomes Harden that we've known in the past, even though he's been kind of awful in the playoffs, plus 1,600 is an interesting line there. Jop?
Yeah. I'm not on that one. I'm with you though on the Bucks. I'm not a big fan of the Bucks here. And although I personally think the Nets are going to come out of the East, those are some pretty atrocious odds for a 7 seed. I mean, so I don't know if I could go that route either. But the one team that intrigues me here on that list to come out of the East, maybe be a world champion, is Miami. I mean, they're the number 1 seed for a reason. I don't believe it's fool's gold. I think that, they'll get through the first matchup. That shouldn't be that hard. Then they get the benefit of probably the 76ers or the Raptors. That's not a terrible matchup for them. So the ball between Boston, the Nets, the Bucks, only one of those teams is going to be left standing at the end of that second round. So they'll only have to go through one real juggernaut there. And I just think they're built really, it is a good culture with a great head coach. And I think there's some good odds there on Miami to bring this thing home.
Yeah, don't mind that. Keith, you got anything to add in?
The Bucks would be the team I want, but I agree that that they don't offer much value at this point. I pick, but I don't know if they want to do it. I think for a shot, I agree with Chop that they would be the stab I take. I don't know that Philly plays enough defense to get past these big teams in the East. So the Bucks would be the team I want coming out. The Heat, if I was looking for a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're better off just betting the next series because the Bucks are going to have a tough matchup next series. So, like plus 500 isn't great, but if you bet them to win the next series and then bet them to win, parlay that into the next series and then the next series after that, you're going to end up with much better than plus 500 because they should be next series like minus 130, series after that minus 120. And then in the finals, they'll probably be an underdog. So you parlay those three together and it ends up being much better than plus 500 odds. I mean, realistically, that's probably a better way to do things. Like if you're looking for Memphis, betting them at, 15 to 1. Let me look at it real quick. Memphis at 14 to 1. You parlay minus 330 in the first series. And then the next series, they're going to be a dog to the Warriors. Like, unless the Warriors somehow lose, they're going to be a dog to them, probably minus or plus 160. So bet on that. And then the next series against the Sun, they'll be plus 160. And then the championship, they'll probably be plus 130 to plus 180. So if you parlay those together, you end up with a lot better odds than just plus 1,400. So, I mean, that's something to look at when you're betting futures at this point is you're much better off just betting series every single time. You can almost always get better value, like with the Bucks or with the Suns or with the Warriors. Any of these teams outside of maybe you can probably even get better odds with the Heat. You're better off just parlaying series unless you want to go with something like the Jazz at plus 2,800 or the Nuggets plus 3,500. I think you're just better off parlaying series over and over again. But yeah, any last minute thoughts before we get on out of here, guys?
No, I think we covered the basketball playoffs.
Yeah, Keith?
I don't have anything else.
All right, one last bet before I get on out of here. Victor Caratini under 0.5 total bases at plus 150 over at Caesars. If he's in the lineup, he's not going to hit that. Solid plus 150 odds. But guys, thanks for joining us. Probably have you guys back on again sometime here in the near future. Really appreciate it. We're